What is going on, guys? It's your boy XQ420. Welcome to another episode, Showtime with the Cube. Of course, I've got my co-host with me, Corey Hughes. How you doing today, Corey?
Excellent.
Excellent. If it's your first time to this channel, please subscribe. Hit the follow button if you listen to us on podcast platforms. Every subscription, every comment, all that helps the channel grow, and we appreciate everybody who's done that so far. So, in this episode, Corey, we're getting into She-Hulk episode 6, and I think I might have spoke too soon, okay? I think episode 5, I said it was the worst one yet, and then, of course, this one upped it, all right? I believe it did.
So,
what was your initial feeling?
I think I closed out the last episode we discussed She-Hulk saying that this next episode was kind of do or die. They needed to introduce the character that hired the Asgardian plumbers, right? They had to do that. And a couple things struck me very early on in this episode. First off, knowing that we were anticipating something important happening, what does she do right in the beginning? She does that talk to the camera stuff. The breaking the wall, right? Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, the fourth wall. Yeah, the fourth wall.
So she's doing the breaking the wall stuff. And she straight up says, I know what you're thinking. It's probably not a good time in the season for one of these throwaway episodes, but we're going to do one anyway. And I just about shot myself in the fucking head on the spot. I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
No, and they were not. She was not. Okay, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, for this to go into an episode where she is going to a previous friend's wedding, I'm just like, y'all, please, man. It's just get to the story, okay? Get to it already. I want to, look, man. Titania is not a threat. Okay, let's get serious. She ain't a threat.
Well, let me stop you right there. So the one thing we've been wanting to know about has been the identity of the hirer of the Asgardian plumbers. And I think that I have figured it out. I
know who it is. I
believe it's Titania. It has to be Titania. No?
Nope.
What?
Nope. And I will reveal it later. But I do not believe it's Titania. I just think that she's, one of these women who likes clout, who likes to be in the spotlight, and anybody else who's stealing her shine. She does, because you know how women are. They usually sly in their tactics. They're very deceitful, and and they want to kick you while you're down. All right, and so she seems like that type of person. But of course, this episode starts with Jen going to her friend's wedding, Lulu. All right, she's one of the bridesmaids, even though they hadn't hung out in a while. She shows up as She-Hulk, and immediately right out the gate, like, the women there start sexualizing her. Oh, girl, your butt looks good, your boobs look good. I'm like, why are they trying to over sexualize She-Hulk? That's what I'm not understanding. I mean, it's like it's 6'7" green monster, and it's just like they're just like trying to over sexualize her. Once they had the episode with Megan Thee Stallion where she's shaking her ass at the end, then she's getting some random D from some dude on the first date, and now she's at a bridesmaid at a wedding, and the women there are commenting on her boobs and her butt, and then she's trying to get some more D, or as a guy there hitting on her. I'm like, but I need to get into something else besides her, trying to get laid. I mean, what do you think, Corey?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And what I think this goes back to is who is their target market? Because I can't figure it out, right? If you have a target market, you know what that target market enjoys and what they like and what they expect. And then you give it to them, and that's called a formula for a hit show. That is not what we have here. I almost feel bad because this show is so bad. And then I look at some of the other critics who just dog this show like it's the worst thing ever, and it might be. And then I just feel terrible that I have to get up here and dog on it also. I try to find some redeeming quality of this piece of steaming garbage, and I just can't. I just can't. I've tried. It's just not happening for me.
It's not working out. It's not working out. And it looks, the further they get into it, and I think the main issues, which we talked about multiple times, the further we get into it, the farther away I feel like we get from a plot line. You know what I'm saying? It almost feels like a sitcom show. You know what I'm saying? Like each show is like its own entity, but it's trying to be funny when it's really not. So it's trying to be a sitcom show, except, not funny.
Even a sitcom had themes that went throughout the entire show, right? Like Three's Company. Three's Company, every episode was its own standalone episode, but you constantly had the same themes, like Jack, them finding out that Jack wasn't gay, right? And so we'd have to move out of the apartment, right? That was one of those things that went on constantly throughout the entire show, right? They haven't established any of that kind of stuff for it to be even looked at like a sitcom. They haven't established a framework. They haven't established primary characters other than She-Hulk, her ditzy assistant, and possibly Titania, who seemingly has picked up more prominent of a role than she ever should have, if she's not the primary bad guy, right? If she's not the primary bad guy, why have they wasted like 3 episodes on her? It's ridiculous. This is just bad writing. And so I've watched some of the other critics talk about this show, and I guess the show was like so bad as it was being filmed and produced originally that even the cast was telling people this could be a disaster. So
they were just like, they were looking back at their work and they were like, "Woo! Do we need to put this out? Do we need to scrap this? Do we need to Batgirl it? You know what I'm saying? Scrap it before it gets out there in the mainstream. I know. Hey, we lost $90 million. Just eat it and let's move on. Okay."
Well, I guess there were a lot of reshoots, right? There were some last-minute emergency rewrites and some reshoots. And so if these are the reshoots, God, how bad was it initially?
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, if this was the reshoots to get better quality in the show, then I don't know. You wouldn't want to see the first product. If this is the second product.
Then I gotta wonder, like, who the fuck who's getting these writing jobs? Like, I have never written a comic book script in my life, but I promise you, I could do a way better job than whoever is fucking writing this thing. I mean, does it take a bunch of degrees from some CIA-related school? Does it take being somebody's kid? You got to be fucking the boss's daughter? Like, what has to happen to get one of these jobs writing for She-Hulk? Seriously.
I'll probably say the latter, fucking the boss's daughter. That's probably the quickest way, most efficient way. All right, that usually works for a multitude of people.
The only other explanation is that She-Hulk is written by AI. This is what robots think people will find entertaining. That's it. That's the only other explanation that might make. If you told me, hey, this show was written by AI, I may watch it with a different eye. You know, and I mean, oh my God, this is what the robots think of us.
right, exactly. And what I thought was very was just dumb at the start of this when she had her dress out that she was wearing to the actual rehearsal party, and she was like, her friend was like, "Oh man, that dress is hot." I'm like, "Bo, it's a blue dress with some white circles on it, with some polka dots." I'm like, that dress is not cute. And if she's not She-Hulk, it fit like shit. It looked like somebody just like threw a blanket over. I'm like, Jen, you got no curves.
Yeah, so I don't understand like her mindset, because it seems like to her, She-Hulk is a pain in the ass and she just wants to be Jen the lawyer. But then she goes out of her way to be She-Hulk most of the time. She shows up at parties as She-Hulk. She goes to the fucking office as She-Hulk. None of this is necessary. None.
Yeah, because she wants attention.
Nada.
Yeah, that's the primary thing. She wants attention.
Right. I mean, and if she were to only be the She-Hulk, when we saw some action in this fucking thing, we'd have seen the She-Hulk like twice. So they definitely need to pick up the action a little bit.
Yeah.
Or some intrigue. Give us some intrigue. Give me something. Give me a cliffhanger.
They got 3 episodes left.
Who gives a shit?
They got 3. Right. They got 3 episodes left. So I mean, wherever they're going, they got to get there.
Introduce a bad guy, build up some plot development, and then do some conflict, and then some conflict resolution, all in 3 episodes. What the fuck is happening here?
Here's the issue. They only got 60 minutes left. I mean, this ain't the 20-minute episodes, so they ain't got the 60 minutes left. Corey, I mean, they ain't got a whole lot of time left.
Yeah, I don't understand why the credits are a third of the show. Like, time-wise, the credits are 1/3 of the show.
Yeah, it's like, well, I think they ran out of stuff that they could do, so they kind of just like, man, let's just make some nice looking credits. You know what I'm saying? let's make nice looking credits and let's go off that. So we travel from that. Of course, the friend is like, look, I don't want the She-Hulk at my party. I want you to be regular Jen because now you're taking the onus off of me. Just when Jen finds out that Titania is going to be there as well, because Titania happens to be friends with Lulu and them somehow. So of course we got that plot line. But as always, from what we've seen right here recently, we always have got to make sure that we have some type of courtroom action. Okay. Even if they're not in the courtroom, some type of lawyer action going on. So we move over to Nikki, and she's actually assisting Mallory, which is the black lawyer who did the work for Jen on the previous case. And they are trying to help a guy named Mr. Immortal who fakes his death to get out of marriages. So I'm just like, it's like this random tangent, and I'm just like, does Mr. Immortal have anything at all to do with She-Hulk and the development of this show?
Well, obviously the answer is no. And so, but I felt that She-Hulk was a very poor showcase for Mr. Immortal, because I actually kind of like this guy. He was kind of funny. He killed himself to get out of his marriages. You know, he was in a meeting with 2 chicks, and he'd rather hurl himself out the window and smash and die on a car and get back up with broken bones than have to sit there and listen to them 2 fucking talk for any longer. I thought that was just perfect. So yes, it's unfortunate that guy needs his own show. He would definitely do better ratings than She-Hulk. You know, like every episode could be him meeting a new chick and then having to kill himself to get out of it. Like, it'd be awesome.
That would be funny. Like, he stayed with for a little while. It's like, oh my God, what have I done?
and then he's got like a dozen like past wives who are coming after him and trying to kill him or something, extort him for money, whatever. You could write a dozen different awesome plot lines for that show.
Yeah, so I guess we're in agreement. Mr. Immortal could have been a better show than She-Hulk, and a funnier show.
Yeah, you're listening to this, Marvel. Take some hints, okay? Jesus.
Yeah, maybe do a Mr. Immortal show, okay? And that can be your comedy show, and that would be fine, because we're not expecting him to do anything spectacular as far as any type of superhero activity. All right?
Right.
He just seems like a guy. He just can't die. I mean, it's just the type of guy he is. I mean, it's just for some reason. So of course, we got Mallory and Nikki. They are helping him because I guess his former wives have found out that he's in fact immortal, and now they're wanting payback for all their trials and hardships. And of course, during that time, that Nikki and Mallory kind of dog him for a little bit, and he's like, "Aren't y'all supposed to be helping me? I mean, y'all over here dogging me for what ain't y'all supposed to be helping me? I mean, that's why I came here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, you live forever. That could be a lot of fucking alimony. Jesus."
Yeah, I know. Well, I think what happened? 9 up there, 8 or 9. And now what? And let me tell you something right now. I mean, he ain't pick a whole lot of lookers. Let's just say that. I mean, his lineup, I'm like, I said, that's your lineup, dog. I mean, I said, hey, okay, hey, man's getting some. So, I mean, I ain't going to hate on them too much, all right?
Well, hey, man, it used to be looks,
too
but now my number one criteria is, do you have a job, right? So
Yeah.
a W-2 takes priority over looks, let me tell you.
Do you file taxes every year? It's like, yes, okay, cool. All right, I know you're working, so that works for me. It said I can work with looks. I can learn to love you. How about that? I learned to love the way you look. So yeah. So of course, we had that moment where Mr. Mortal jumps out the window. And then it switches back over to Jen at the venue. All right. And of course, she has a gentleman by the name of Josh that comes up and tries to start hitting on her. And I was just like, do we got to go through this thing again where somebody's hitting on her and trying to get on a date with her? I'm just like, man, just move away from that. All right. I'm fine with a little bit of a love element, because you always got to have that. All the superheroes do have a love interest, but they kind of seem to be focusing on this aspect of her too much without developing the rest of her character and developing a villain background. What do you think about that, Corey?
Yeah, I don't think there's much else to develop with her.
Mm-hmm.
There really is just, her character is so shallow. She doesn't come off as wise, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. Like, and here's the thing. Let's just say she does have a love interest and it works out. Like, who does that appeal to? Does that appeal to, like, teenage boys out there who are watching this who give a fuck? I don't think so. Doesn't appeal to me at all. I don't know who her hooking up with some dude would appeal to. Right. Unless they throw us a curveball and she hooks up with some chick. But I think that would be just too overdone. So I don't think they're going to go there.
It said we're not going to have her back for the other team. Currently, we said we're going to keep her straight in there. So during that time, Josh is hitting on her and everything. She's having plenty of drinks. They're having a good time. Okay, and her and Titania. Well, actually, it moves back over to Miss Immortal, but I'm gonna finish this storyline out. Her and Titania, they have a confrontation in there, and they have a little bit of a scrap. It's not a great fight, okay? That both need to improve their fighting skills because it's really poor. Titania wants to see She-Hulk, so she beats on Jen for a little bit, and then Jen finally turns to She-Hulk. And then Titania gets beat by like some something on the ground. So like it's just she steps on the object and she falls and she busts her mouth on the ground, and she's got veneers. And I'm just like, so hold on a second. So you mean to tell me that this superpowered Titania got fake teeth? Got false teeth? I mean, so Titania, superpowered, ain't got no teeth, no real teeth. Is that what y'all telling me? I'm like, y'all, the end of this fight can't be Titania slipping on some bullshit on the ground and busting her teeth out. I mean, that can't be how this fight ends, man. And it was, Corey. That's how the fight concluded. Corey,
it's poor context. It's poor context in writing. And you'll often see this kind of stuff in professional wrestling, right? Or maybe a writer will step in and write one segment that he normally doesn't write, and he isn't as familiar with the overarching character, storylines, this and that. So sometimes you get some things in pro wrestling that are just completely stupid and don't fit the storyline. And that's what I'm seeing here in She-Hulk. Like somebody stepped in and substituted for an episode before having to go back to their job making coffee or whatever the fuck else they were doing. So, but yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And it's just uh, that fight. I mean, the fight scene. I mean, I would think that Titania, which I don't know how long she's been superpowered. If she's superpowered by super soldier serum or what, we don't know. We've got no clue. We just know that she likes beauty products, and yeah, I mean that's about it. She's got superhuman strength. But I would feel like she would have an advantage in a fight because She-Hulk hadn't really fought anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I would feel like she would have an upper hand.
One thing I want to point out is there's no unity or unified storyline as to why people have powers in this universe at all. Really kind of the same thing with DC, right? So when you look at something like The Boys, right? We know now in The Boys that everybody with powers was exposed to Compound V when they were a child, right? So doesn't matter who you come across in that universe, you know that's their origin story. Nobody was born with powers up until Homelander's kid, right? So there's nothing unifying about any of the origin stories in Marvel. They're just all random. And when you try to pull together various characters from various plots or storylines, I find that's the biggest contradiction you're going to find, or biggest hole, I should say, in the storyline is that there is no unified origin story, and so and it's difficult for them to put forth an origin story every time they have a new character, right? So they just end up skipping it, and that's what they're doing with Titania. And hell, it's She-Hulk's show, and we got 30 seconds of her getting bled on, and boom, her origin story was done. So, yeah, they're getting lazy with the origin stories and explanations.
Yeah, not much drama, not much build up there either. Like your previous iteration of how they could have did her origin story, her being rushed to the hospital, and oh man, Bruce has got the same blood as her, and doing the transfusion. I said, bro, that'd have been perfect. And then Bruce woke up and said, "Man, what have you done?"
Right.
I mean that would have worked perfectly, but of course, they had to skip all that because they had other stuff to do. I'm not really going to go back to Mr. Immortal. I mean, he ended up paying his wives different things. One of them he gave him an apology. That was the payment.
At the end of the day, he's nothing more than a chuckle in the episode. A single chuckle in the episode. So too much time put into him to cover for the fact that they didn't have storyline elsewhere. Really, not much else happened, right? So you got the incident with him, and then he meets with his wives in the courtroom. You've got the little scrap at the wedding. You have her showing up at the wedding and turning into the Hulk. And then now the bride is excited that the Hulk is at her wedding as opposed to when she told her the Hulk should not be at the wedding. So that didn't really make much sense either. Yeah.
And of course she was laying up against her boobs and telling her they were nice. I was just like, okay. It's just like, why y'all keep sexualizing She-Hulk? I'm trying to figure out why. All right. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't know who's looking at her as a sexual beast, but that's obviously what they want her to be. It's like, look, man, she's 6'7", she's green and she's strong, so you should be sexually attracted to her. I think that's what they're saying. That's what they're trying to iterate. And what Titania slipped on was actually ice. Okay, there was ice on the ground. She slipped on that, bust her veneers out because Titania's got false teeth for some reason in this show. Now, this show ends, okay, with maybe a glimpse of what's going to happen. Now, what's crazy when you type in on IMDb, when you type in She-Hulk, you see a picture of Daredevil first. I mean, that's when you type in She-Hulk, a picture of Daredevil pops up. And you're like, shouldn't a picture of She-Hulk pop up first? But a picture of Daredevil pops up first.
Well, behind the scenes, they're like, well, guess what? They're both lawyers. This could be great. Right? So they're just going to ruin Daredevil. That's it.
Yeah.
She might go on
probably
some
so.
missions with him, but they're just going to make him a comedic. He's going to be a laughing stock, is what they're going to turn him into.
Yeah. I think they're going to have one episode at least where I think they're going to be fighting some people from what I've seen from trailers. But we got a glimpse into who we believe may be behind this. While Mallory and Nikki are sitting there, they're watching YouTube videos of Mr. Immortal killing himself, and where people have filmed it, and they run across a site, Intelligentsia, where they have multiple posts. It's almost like a Reddit page where they are saying "Kill She-Hulk" and things of that nature. Now,
Right.
here's what I believe. Okay. Because Mallory tells Nikki not to tell Jen about the site. I was like, why would they introduce Mallory? I think Mallory's behind it. I think Mallory is behind the Asgardian plumbers, behind the people who were trying to extract her blood. I think she's a plant. That's what I believe. All right. Because I was trying to figure out, okay, why is Mallory in this show? And she just pops up randomly. Todd, Mallory, I think they're within the same realm. What's your thoughts on that? Maybe, potentially.
I don't know, man. That's it's very specific with very little to go on. I can understand your suspicion, but if that's the case, then they didn't put nearly as much emphasis on that character for me to have noticed.
Right.
So I would think if that was the case, then she would have had to have left more of an impression in my mind, or done something a little more overt about it that gave us a hint. Because I think this is way too subtle. They're not that smart, right, to give you something so subtle. So
right.
Who knows?
Maybe
we'll
not.
See.
Maybe not. And maybe I'm just trying to feel this in for him. I'm like, hey, Mallory popped up out of nowhere. She said, we're just colleagues. We're not friends. She doesn't really befriend her, but she kind of talks to her a little bit. Maybe try to figure out some things about her. And I see Mallory again in another episode. I'm like, why do they keep showing Mallory? Maybe I'm like, hey, maybe she's the secret bad. But I don't know how bad she is. But the actual episode ends with them actually going to a lab. Okay, it shows you a lab scene. And then it shows you on the computer Operation, I think it was Operation or something like that, hashtag Hulk King. So obviously it seems that they're trying to extract She-Hulk's blood so they can make more Hulks in the future. You see them load a needle into a syringe type canister. And so that seems to be where we might go the last 60 minutes of this TV show. Maybe. Potentially.
Hopefully.
But I'm not sure, Corey. I'm not sure. What's Operation Hulk King? I don't know.
Well, I have a feeling that they're going to leave us at the end of the season with a lot of things unanswered or unaddressed, and they're going to play it off like a major cliffhanger.
Please don't.
Just so they.
Please.
I think that's what's going to happen. I think because there's too much. They got to develop too much in too short a period of time. If they try to pull it off, it's not going to be good. So yeah, I think they're going to leave a lot hanging until next season. And then treat it like a direct continuation.
Can they really afford to make a season 2 with this?
I don't know, man. I mean, they probably break even no matter what, no matter how many people watch. They probably got enough deals in place to where they make their money. I
guess so. I guess I said, man, we took a big L on that, but we got other projects. Okay, so I guess it'll be okay. So yeah, that's how this one ends. Maybe this is going to give us some foreshadowing to something actually happening before the season ends. Besides Jen getting some more random dick. So besides her getting D down by another random dude. Yeah, that wraps up this particular episode. Corey, how many cubes out of 10?
Out of 10, I got to give it 2. 2 cubes.
Yeah, did too. And this one actually was the worst rated, the worst episode so far as people rating it on IMDb. This one got
I'm really trying
4.6 out of 10.
Like, we've been reviewing so much bad shit lately. I'm really, like, I watch these things and I try to have the most open mind ever.
Mm-hmm.
Just give me something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just give me one chuckle, one genuine chuckle. Give me something, God fucking damn it. Just something, right? And they just don't. And then when I'm just thinking, like, this is the chance to have to give us some stuff. And then she does the fourth wall nonsense about this fucking is going to be a throwaway episode. I'm like, I'm being punked. I was like, there is a God, and he's just punking me with She-Hulk. All right, that's how I felt. It's unfucking real, man. Like, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, because you sitting there and you're like, oh, so you telling me that the other episodes won't throw away? Because I felt the same way about that. we've been waiting for you to do something of note. You know what I'm saying? When we seen Asgardian Plumbers in episode 2, we thought we were going somewhere. Little did we know we were headed nowhere at all. Okay.
No, hell, I mean, what happened to the days of, like, Star Trek? You'd get 25, 26 episodes in a season, and you didn't get 2 episodes in a row that were disposable. Ever. Not once. Right. They fucking knew better. Because if they had 2 in a row that were fucking duds, the third week, their ratings would suck. So they knew better. She-Hulk hasn't learned better. I wonder if the fact that this is a stream at your own will, whenever the fuck you want kind of programming, I wonder how that affects their production of a show, right? Like, if you got a good point. If you know that you're going to watch on ABC between fucking 8 and 9 o'clock every Tuesday night, it's a predictable time slot. They already have numbers. They know what they're going to do, worst case and best case across the board, right? So
yeah, and you didn't have any opportunity to watch it again. There wasn't no DVR or nothing like that. Like, if you didn't catch it, but it might be years from now before you see the rerun.
Yeah, that's why it was so funny in Back to the Future when he's like, "Oh, I saw this on a rerun." They're like, "What's a rerun?"
Yeah, exactly. So we're 2 cubes out of 10 on this. Pretty bad episode. We've got 3 more episodes left. We might make it through it. Okay, we may make it through this. All right, without pulling our hair out. Thank God that I already don't have any hair. Corey, I'm praying for the hair you have left. Okay,
I got gorgeous hair. Don't hate me because I'm beautiful.
he got gorgeous locks. So yeah, that's gonna wrap up this episode of Showtime with the Cube. Stay tuned. We're gonna be it's gonna be a double day because we're gonna cover the first 3 episodes of Andor, which is a show that we actually do like. From a consensus from me and Corey. So stay tuned for that episode. Like I said, we're going to come bring those to you back to back. So from your boy XQ420, my co-host Corey Hughes. I appreciate everybody for watching. We will catch y'all on the next Showtime with the Cube. Peace out.